Yo, 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 what it do though? Jokesta Baby, you already know, man. Back again, controversial conversation. So, we came back yesterday for the first time in a long time. I had to give y'all the true update on what I've been going through. Very, very, very hard hitting stuff, if I do say so myself. Nah, but really, though, it's something that I think you should really go check out, especially if you're kind of going through things mentally. If you just really need some therapy or something to just kind of help you, I think it's a really, really great segment. So check it out. But I told y'all yesterday that I was coming back for real, and we're not playing anymore. We're gonna make controversial conversation what it's supposed to be. We're not gonna shy away from things. We're gonna say what needs to be said. And the first thing that needs to be said right now is if you are celebrating this so called landmark legislation being struck down, there's something seriously wrong with you. This is not something to celebrate. Many reasons why. First of all, this is truly, right now, nothing more than an assault, an all out assault on women's reproductive rights. And that alone should make you want to fight for it. That alone. But let's just talk about other things if you just want to be selfish about it. Let's talk about our own personal needs and wants, right? How about, I don't know, there's the issue of slippery slope. Like let's just say today it's, Roe v. Wade, and then Obergefell, however you say the name, versus Hodges, which is the same-sex marriage, and then you start moving to other cases, and you start overturning things, and eventually, since you didn't step up and say anything about the rights being taken from these people, one, they're not going to step up and say anything for you, which they shouldn't. I don't blame them. But two, there isn't going to be anybody to speak up for the rights being taken from you. And I know a lot of y'all want to ask, how did we get here? I mean, was it Ruth Bader Ginsburg refusing to step down when she knows she needed to? Was it Mitch McConnell stealing multiple Supreme Court justices? Was it the Democrats refusing to stand up and actually try to put more people on the Supreme Court or challenge certain things? Was it the 2016 election debacle where Hillary refused to do the work and felt entitled and we were supposed to just vote for her, which ended up leading to the rise of Trumpism, which made these people feel emboldened enough to strike it down in the first place? Yes. The answer is yes. To all of that, the answer is yes, and so much more. But honestly, who gives a fuck how we got here? There's other questions that we need to answer. But first and foremost, let's just talk about it. The first question I want to ask is, in 1970, Jane Roe, a fictional name used in court documents to protect the plaintiff's identity, filed a lawsuit against Henry Wade, the district attorney of Dallas County, Texas, where she resided, challenging a Texas law making abortion illegal except by a doctor's orders to save a woman's life. In her lawsuit, Roe alleged that the state laws were unconstitutionally vague and abridged her right of personal privacy protected by the First, Fourth, Fifth, Ninth, and 14th Amendments. The question was, does the Constitution recognize a woman's right to terminate her pregnancy by abortion? And the conclusion, inherently, in the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment is a fundamental right to privacy that protects a pregnant woman's choice whether to have an abortion. However, this right is balanced against the government's interest in protecting women's health and protecting the potentiality of human life. The Texas law challenged in this case violated this right. Justice Harry Blackmun delivered the opinion for the 7-2 majority of the court. And with that, we're up to modern day because we've seen since that landmark legislation was actually enacted, there's been an all-out assault to essentially keep women from being able to have reproductive rights while at the same time allowing men to be able to do other things like get contraceptives and penis enlargements and things like that somehow. I don't understand how we put such a a preference on allowing men's sexual reproductive, things to just rate higher. How do we prioritize that when you kind of need both, you know what I mean, to make this baby that you're about to force women to have? But aside from all of that, the questions that we really need to ask, aside from what is Roe v. Wade and how did it get overturned, the other question that we really need to ask y'all, is this a question of yes, pro-life, pro-choice, and prohibition? I know it sounds funny, we're doing the alliteration and I love doing those things, but this is something that I really, really want to stress. This point right here needs to be stressed. This is not pro-life versus pro-choice. This is pro-birth versus pro-choice. Because the pro-life movement would be trying to fight for the sanctity of life in all institutions, which means they would consistently fight against the death penalty. They would consistently fight against war. They would consistently fight against poverty. And they would consistently fight against every other thing that threatens the sanctity of life. That's what they would fight for. But what they fight for is the birth. They only want the birth. They only want the preservation of babies. And if we're being 100% honest, they really, truly only want the preservation of what they call the white babies because they see them as the most pure. Yeah, we're going to go there. This is not about saving the souls of everybody in America. This is about preserving the so-called white race based on the nonsensical bullshit great replacement theory. This is what it is. You guys want to force women into having babies so you can rebuild what you believe is a community that is weakened because minorities and others are starting to get power. No, that's how equality works. When you've had the ball for so long and somebody else comes on your court, they want to play too, and they deserve to play too. That's why it's a game. You know what I'm saying? Both of y'all get the chance. But here we are dealing with this nonsensical bullshit. And I know coming from a man, this is not what a lot of women want to hear, or they don't even want to hear it coming from a man. I'm not saying what I'm saying y'all don't want to hear. I'm saying I know that I'm not the particular kind of person that you want to speak on these things. But here's the thing though. If more men actually speak out and speak up and put themselves in positions of power that they can fight these things, then more partnerships can be built because we're allies. There are so many allies out there that want to fight this, that will fight this. And it's not just a monolith of them. There are so many different variations of men who are willing to fight. I promise you this. I promise you this, because this right here is bullshit. It's bullshit. I don't care what nobody says. This is bullshit. And the reason that I said pro-life, pro-choice, and prohibition is because, one, I am pro-life, but not in the way of being pro-birth, where I force every woman to have a baby just because I think it's the right thing for them to do, whether I believe that or not. So, to me, pro-life versus pro-choice is flawed from the get-go. It is pro-birth versus pro-choice. And in that instance, I'm pro-choice. And I'm tired of the nonsense. But where the prohibition comes in is the irony of the same people, the same group of people galvanizing to get rid of Roe v. Wade are the exact same people who say taking guns away isn't going to stop people from using them, isn't going to stop the criminals. So then banning abortions isn't going to actually stop them. It's just going to make it more dangerous for them to be had. I don't understand where y'all's logic is when it comes to this. This is stupid. And I'm sitting here just like, bro, I've gone through certain situations when it comes to this very, very, very sensitive topic. And I am still here today advocating for her to make that choice herself. That doctor's room is only big enough for her, the doctor, and whoever she believes in. That is it. We can't make that decision. She can. And that's how it should have always been. And that's how it should always stay. But now, here we are. And that leads us to the last question that I have. Well, honestly, I said earlier, is this because the Democrats were too weak to actually try to push for more Supreme Court justices? And I do honestly believe that that is the case, that the only true way that we're going to be able to do something now, since this has officially been overturned, and it means that there's going to be states' rights in Georgia and Alabama and Texas and other very, very staunch conservative states who are trying to win the culture war by appeasing to their constituents by using these type of things. They're going to really go hard, and we've seen them attempt to do stuff like that. We saw what Alabama did. We've seen what Mississippi done. We know what Georgia will attempt to do, and the only thing that we can do is just sit back and hope that the Democratic Party grows some balls and puts some true things on the floor and actually fights for them. That's the only true way. But there is an interesting idea that I had. Now, we have things like Uber and DoorDash and Grubhub and stuff like that. As I've been doing DoorDash, I started thinking like, actually I was doing Uber at the time, and I started thinking, what if we had commercial licenses where individuals could just drive around and pick people up without having to use the corporations? Obviously, you got to have logistics and things like that. So an app would have to be created, and then people would have to know about the app, advertising, marketing, targeting, all of that stuff, right? I get that. But I do think that now is the perfect time for that actually to be created, just simply for the sole purpose of getting, like, what do they call it, like auto abortions, right? I know that's a fucked up name, but auto abortions is literally a logistic of car drivers who have dedicated themselves to making sure that they will safely get women out of states that will not allow abortions and drive them across state lines, as long as it does not violate any laws that have been in effect, and get them to areas where it is safe for them to get that and then take them back. That would be something that could actually help in the meantime, because there's about to be a lot of nasty shit going on, y'all. And honestly, I hate to say this, y'all. It's not even funny, but as upset as women are, like, if they really found a way to just take this out on us in all kinds of different ways, they would not be wrong. They'd be so justified. And I'm just like, damn, I hate it. I empathize. I sympathize. I hate the fact that I'm sitting here watching a whole half of the population completely have their power taken from them by individuals who don't even understand the science or the mechanisms or anything behind it. This is beyond frustrating, aggravating. It boggles my mind that we are here, but this is where we're at. So, ladies, I'm so, I can't even say I'm sorry, because that doesn't do anything for the fact that you just had this stripped from you. But know that I am here to fight. Know that my boys are here to fight. Know that we will continue to fight, and we will galvanize anybody else that we can get. Until then, you already know. It's Jokesta Baby. Y'all be good. Y'all be great. And stop fucking taking people's rights.